allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call this meeting to order. Roll call shows everybody present except Kelly, who is excused. Got the July 6, 2017 regular board meeting minutes. Any corrections? Questions? If not, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Any agenda changes? None that I know of. Then we will open the public hearing for discontinuance of a public way, specifically the southern portion of Commerce Drive and Industrial Park Avenue. Anybody here to talk on that?
What are you talking about now?
Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing.
It's on the end of industrial park, doesn't affect it.
Yeah, it does.
Licenses and permits.
We have one operator license, number 86 for Melanie Nichols, 3 temporary operator licenses, number 1, 2, and 3 for Darnell Hankey, Charles Nieuwenhuis, and William Voss to serve at a Hortonville Lions Club event, and 2 temporary Class B retailers licenses, number 8 and 9 for Hortonville Legion Baseball for events at the Commercial Club Park Baseball Concession Stand. All 4 of the operator licenses have received the PD's signature for okay.
I'll make a motion, accept.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Pre-registered citizens to be heard. I assume there's no pre-registered citizens.
Excuse me. Can I go back to that first thing about commercial drive? What are you gonna do there in the industrial park?
That's going to come up a little bit later in the agenda again.
Oh, you gonna discontinue something in there?
Yes.
A road?
Okay, you know, you got commerce, and then you got industrial, and then originally they were gonna connect it at the south end,
Okay.
but because PSI bought the whole thing,
Yeah.
that's being gotten rid of.
I didn't know if it affected the other side of the road.
No,
You know, we're tied in my mother's land.
no,
So I wasn't paying attention, sorry.
that's okay.
Committee reports, Public Safety Committee.
Nothing to report, but we're gonna have to have a meeting next week. I'll have to coordinate that because I'll be in Milwaukee a couple days, just don't know which days. So I will coordinate that with Jeannie, Jack, and Kelly, and you.
Okay.
I just have to find out when.
Library Board?
There's a couple of meeting minutes in your packets. The ones from 6/6 though, tear in half. We have to do a revision on those. Also, we just this past meeting approved our bylaws, our yearly review of bylaws, and getting all the signatures on there, and looking at the 2018 budget already. So, and I think Rachel has a little more on that later, so. That's it.
Okay. Senior Activities Committee.
We had a meeting today, and we had a report that the Strong Bones class is finished for the summer. They will be starting up in the fall. The birthday party and potlucks are going great. We have good attendance. Mosquito Hill outing was attended very well, and they learned about bees and had a cookout. And the meal site update, the contract is still under review, and I believe Pat Lunmo is going to talk to Attorney Sorensen on that. And so then we have some upcoming events in August. There's an event that we're trying to combine with the library, if that works out with Rachel, for Whistler's Knoll, and then some other events that we're planning. And then we are still in the process of finalizing our Autumn Fest for October. And that's all I have.
We'll move on to unfinished business from previous meetings. R-18-17 resolution urging state legislature to fully fund personal property tax shortfall.
We mentioned this a bit ago, is that the state is looking at repealing personal property taxes, and for the village, that means a shortfall of 96,000, about 97,000 is what we currently get from personal property taxes. The bill does include a proposal that would replace that shortfall to municipalities, but it's only, for one thing, it just replaces that tax revenue, and secondly, it replaces it at 2017 levels for, that typically goes up yearly. And then the other part that it doesn't address is the fact that that also affects our assessed value, so that could impact, will impact our debt, our borrowing capacity, because then our assessed values will also, will be lower, because it's not just removing the revenue, it's removing assessment. And it could also impact TIDs and how, on when they can close, because it's, again, taking away not just the revenue, but it's also reducing the village's assessment. So this resolution was one that I got from the city of Portage, actually, and it asks that if the personal property taxes are repealed, that they include some type of thing to make whole again the village, the municipalities, to also take into account those other side effects of the legislation.
And
So
the other thing is that when they do these legislations, they talk about how they're going to fund it, but it's not a guarantee until everything's done in the budget and the money's actually available.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that, yeah, exactly, the funding. Now, from what I understand, or the last time I saw it, is that they just talked about funding it, but they didn't mention how it was going to happen. So that's obviously a very serious concern, because it amounts to over $97,000 for the village in revenue, and over $4 million in assessment. So that's quite significant.
So you're looking for a motion to approve this?
To approve the resolution, yes. And then we would send it to the Governor, Joint Finance Committee, and area legislators.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve R-16-17. 18, wait, what am I looking at here? Well, there's, R-18-17.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Approved. Move on to new business, R-16-17, preliminary assessment resolution for asphalt roadway construction, Industrial Park Avenue.
This is the first step in moving forward on the paving on the northern section of Industrial Park Avenue between Main Street and County Road Double T. We had talked about borrowing the money for this one, and then we were going to special assess the properties along that road, and the preliminary resolution is the first step. From this point, we go on to hold a public hearing on August 3rd and award, then if things move forward, we would award the contract and keep moving from there down through the end of the project with a final resolution and assessment bills to the properties.
Any comments or questions? Not looking for motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve R-16-17.
I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Order of discontinuance of portions of village streets.
Okay, that would be me, sorry. So this is what we were talking about before. This is what the public hearing was about, and it's the third page is the map. So it's the road, which was never laid out, but which was mapped, would connect Commerce and Industrial Park Avenue. So we're vacating everything there, except now we're creating 2 new cul-de-sacs. That's the next part of this, but that's phase 2 here, coming up in a minute. So, we had a preliminary resolution on this on June 1. This was noticed for public hearing tonight, and so now you could take a vote and pass on this order. This order would then be recorded in the Register of Deeds and would correct the official maps.
We'll need a motion on the order of discontinuance.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
Okay, thank you. And the second piece of the puzzle is the resolution to dedicate portions of streets. Going back to that map again, if you look at that, we did acquire, on those 2 cul-de-sacs, we had to acquire some additional land from the adjoining property owners, which has been done. Everything within the parcel B and C there is owned by the village at this time, free and clear. But now we have to dedicate those areas as cul-de-sacs again for mapping purposes.
We're looking for a motion for R-17-17.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
Thank you. Okay, the next one I'll take care of my roll. Our ordinance actually provides that the park fees are supposed to be paid prior to the approval of the final plan. We have negotiated the development agreement providing that park fees will be paid at the time that the building permits are issued. And so we're asking the board to waive the ordinance 18034F for Wild Wind plat, which is that 30-lot plat.
But just specifically for that plat.
Yes, and I don't have a recommendation to change the ordinance at this time. That plat is, to come together, it's been quite a chore because there's multiple parties, and we were negotiating in good faith, and I didn't know about that ordinance initially, and so I guess I'm asking that we just we waive it in this instance. The $500 park fee will still be paid for each and every lot, so there'll be $15,000 received. It won't be paid up front, it'll be paid at the time.
As the lots are sold?
Yes.
Okay.
As the building permits are issued.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the request for variance from section 18.03.4F of the Code of Ordinances.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
Okay, thank you. So that gets us then to the plat itself, the next 2 items. The first one is the development agreement, which is in place. We don't have the signed one here. All of this is the paperwork's at Evan's title in escrow, and we will, if you approve the development agreement tonight, our signature page will go there as well. The development agreement that you have in front of you now should be the final document.
We emailed that one, they don't actually have it.
No, we don't.
It was emailed.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Have we looked at this before? Probably not.
We had some, I thought we had some preliminary talk.
Yeah, it's been batted around a lot.
Over the last couple of months.
The latest few iterations were taking sentences out, adding sentences, and we think we got it squared away.
Right.
You know-
On the highlights, I mean, it'd be standard that things have to be constructed in a normal manner. The final coat of asphalt, as we've done before, when 75% of the lots are developed or 3 years after the streets are in, whichever is first, unless they wanted it sooner, that's when that final coat would be applied, and that would be specially assessed, and there'll be notice of special assessment on. Other than that, Carl, there's,
I think it's about as good as we're gonna get it, I think.
yeah, I think that the rest really is pretty straightforward, just things that we would expect in any planning as far as responsibilities. So this plat is with, or this development agreement is signed with Vance Realty and Construction of Appleton Inc. They're going to be the developer, okay? And as you know, James Land Company, which is Jim Clake's company, has owned that parcel, but just the 30-lot parcel here, just the part that we're platting, that limited area is being transferred from James Land Company to Vance, and then Vance will be the developer. Vance will also, as part of the development agreement, there is a letter of credit which is on, kept, and that'll be through the Wolf River Bank to ensure performance on the infrastructure.
And that letter of credit also extends through the one-year warranty period after the completion of the project.
Questions?
Any questions or comments?
Otherwise, we'd ask for approval of the development agreement.
Ask for a motion for approval, or?
I'll make a motion to approve the Wildwind subdivision development agreement as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
Okay, and then the next item is the actual plat. In front of you, you have the far left portion of the large plat document, just to show you the layout of that 30-lot plat.
I'll make a motion to approve the Wildwind subdivision final plat map as presented.
I'll second it.
Or the plat, just final plat.
Plat.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
Thank you.
Request for Allegheny County reimbursement to village for Union Cemetery Veterans Grave upkeep.
This is something that comes around every year. We have 76 veterans' graves that are from the very early years where there was no perpetual maintenance fee collected, and state statute provides that we can go ahead and request that money from Allegheny County based on our expenses for the past 12 months. And they cut us a check in the amount of the $297.92 that I have outlined on the form here. We have to do the motion to approve and everything, but it just keeps coming around every year, pretty standard.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Purchase of video equipment by the village.
This we put out because this was, Jeannie had requested it from the last meeting that we, because we couldn't discuss it at the last meeting, but you had asked that we put on the agenda, so we had put that on the agenda.
I just think that we should try and find money in the budget to buy our own equipment and tape all meetings, not pick and choose which meetings get taped. If we want the public to be aware, then they should be aware of everything.
This is your equipment?
This is my equipment, and to clarify, when Jeannie and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago, I said that, yeah, I picked up some stuff on Amazon for about 120 bucks. If you look at the footage from that meeting, it was horrible. That's been returned. Since I've purchased new equipment, this is including an external mic with its own power, which we finally got the audio figured out, between $500 and $600.
Good quality.
And I just want to clarify, any meeting I attend, I record. I'm not picking and choosing. So I guess the equipment, if somebody wants to use the equipment for a meeting I don't attend, they're welcome to. In fact, I was on vacation and I know Lynn had my equipment.
And I don't think we should have to use your equipment.
Exactly, but it is available if I'm not able to come to a meeting. I made that, I gave it to Lynn for a meeting I couldn't attend. I just want to clarify though, this is not 120, we're talking more like 500 to 600. So I don't know if that's a 2018 budget or if
So I was just gonna say, that something, I just
Well,
thought
we
that's
look
probably gonna be
into
something that we'll have to
those numbers.
consider for 2018.
And then consider too,
Or
I
at the
take
end of
this,
the year, see where we stand.
Yeah, I think I did look at one time, and professional equipment mounted ceilings much more than $500-600, so.
Yeah.
But I
And
don't know
then-
what direction you want to go.
the other thing to keep in mind, I take this home as raw video. It takes me about an hour of editing to shave off and help increase the noise in the background and help increase the volume. And it's a good hour, probably a good hour-long process to get it uploaded. So that's something to consider too. If this is going to be mounted to the ceiling, we'd consider that staff then would be doing that. And that's something too to consider too, I know with some new staff coming on.
Well, I think for starters, just a thought to throw it out is, one, think about it for the 2018 budget and see where we stand at the end of 2017 to see if we can use 2017 numbers and budget.
And obviously staff
And
too.
then figure out the
It's
staff
about an
numbers.
hour of edit time and upload time to get it uploaded on YouTube.
So, and then in the interim, to keep doing as we have been, but to consider it for 2018, does that sound reasonable?
Or if somebody, I can't attend a meeting and somebody wants to use it, give me a buzz. I'd be more than happy to let you use it or even come set it up and let you push start. And I'll do the uploading. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I can't make every meeting.
Well, it's like Lynn said. She is willing to learn and train someone, and I just think we need to consider it. Definitely. It's a good idea.
That's
And
something to
unfortunately, then I
consider,
couldn't
but-
use my camera. My camera was giving her problems, the same problems it gave me, which prompted a whole new camera system. So we got a couple meetings that didn't.
But I kind of agree with Carl and Diane, it's something we should look at, not just rush into it, look at all options.
Well, in the meantime, aren't all the public meetings also audio recorded? So, and I've contacted Lynn and said I need to hear an audio recording of a meeting I couldn't make. So in a pinch, if somebody wants to hear the audio, it can also be uploaded as well. Just the audio file, the MP4 or MP3 versus the MP4. So, just a thought.
So this is something we will look at.
Yeah, we'll be starting the budget season here pretty quick.
Yes. We'll look at it to see whether this year's budget can cover it or put it in for next year's budget, what our different options are. Any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion?
I have several. One, just to give you a heads up, is that I did receive a variance request the other day. I haven't processed it yet, but that'll be on the horizon. I don't know when, but I've just given you guys a heads up. We'll be having a downtown zoning public hearing coming up, and an agenda item for retaining MSA services for discretionary fund application. And I'll mention a little bit in my administrator report, I have it on there. But those are for future agenda items.
Any other miscellaneous topics? Hearing none, we'll move on to report of village officials, administrator.
State budget is, as of this morning, they thought they were close to getting a budget, and then they threw in the towel and went home. So we're still at an impasse with the state budget, and primarily because of a $1 billion shortfall in transportation. So there's really no end in sight right now. Secondly is the Highway 15 bypass. We had the press conference today. It didn't quite go as planned. There's one TV station that came and they asked if, rather than do a press conference, if they just could interview individuals one-on-one. So they did do that, and that's going to be that's on Channel 5. And then the press star was there as well. So, and we had Representative Murphy, Dave Murphy, who represents Greenville, was there. There were our county board representatives, Tom Nelson, the county executive, Craig Mosier from the executive's office, Dean Steingraber, the highway commissioner, then Jeannie, Julie, and Al were all there. New London, Greenville, Portonia. I think I caught
I was there.
Carl and George.
We had our two local county reps too, Shane Griesbach
Yep.
and Bob Buckman.
And we, normally press conferences are held in the mid-morning, and we raised a few eyebrows scheduling it at 5 o'clock, but that was intentional so that they would get live shots of the steady stream of traffic, and
It was.
the traffic and the pedestrians cooperated with us. It was steady. So, and the reason for doing this is, again, as I mentioned before, is that there were some that were going around kind of suggesting that they eliminate the Highway 15 bypass. We've been fighting with the postponement, since the beginning of this, but now recently there's been some that have been throwing out the idea of eliminating it in order to pay for some other projects. So we're really trying to keep it out front and center and get it funded and built. So much for Channel 5. Peter said that he saw it earlier and made the kind comment that I look like Medusa because the humidity curls my hair.
That's so nice.
It's all chicken jest.
I know, I'm just kidding. Under local transportation funding, this goes back to two things. What I had mentioned before as a future agenda item is that we're looking into potential discretionary fund grant for Grandview. These are state funds that are very competitive, and they could fund up to 50%, and they're only intended for projects of $250,000 or more. Grandview is expected to be about $318,000. So we're going to, we're pursuing a grant application, but we'd like to get the assistance of MSA because this is, as I said, a very competitive grant, and they've done it before, and we are checking to see if the services from them could be charged to the TID. We're pretty sure that they can be. And then also the local match for that, if we were to get the grant. I had asked Ellers to run the analysis based on the current development that we have of Care Partners and the books, knowing that both of those are going to happen and we know what the amount is going to be. Ellers said that we're very comfortable and we'd be fine with funding both, the local match, which would be half if we were to get that grant. We also have enough to be able to fund, when I say fund, I got to qualify that as saying paying the debt. We'd have to take out a loan for it. The TID funds that will be getting from the increment from those two developments can pay for that debt. So even if we don't get the discretionary funds, I think we can move forward with it based on that. But we're going to be coming back with a proposal from MSA and then tying up some, to write the grant for us and then tying up some of those other questions. So we're going to be bringing forward some ideas for funding Grandview. And then the other thing on this part is under local transportation funding is a wheel tax. This is something that some communities are considering. There is legislation being proposed right now that would require communities to go for referendum in order to put it in place, but I also found out that it's also for those that already have it. So even if we were to get it in before that legislation takes place, we still have to go to the referendum. But Al had mentioned this, I know, quite a while ago, about a year ago, and so he'd like us to look into it some more, so I'll be researching some and bringing some information about a potential wheel tax as a way to fund transportation locally. Downtown zoning, we had our downtown zoning public informational meeting last night. It was not well attended, but we made the effort. We actually had the police go door to door downtown inviting people. So primarily we just had the people that participated in it through the task force and one other person. So the next step will be to bring that to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then they'll recommend to the board. We'll have the public hearing and hopefully adopt. There will be an article in the upcoming Press Star.
It's available online as well. The video of the information.
Oh, yeah, the video is online, and I believe you should all have the code, although we got to update, we were missing one part of the code. And then lastly, the administrative assistant, Jane Booth, is our new admin assistant. She starts on Monday, and she is coming to us from 18 years in the Appleton clerk's office, so she's got a lot of experience in, she wasn't the clerk, but she was like an assistant to the clerk, and she's got a lot of voting experience too. So she starts on Monday. That is all I have.
Clerk treasurer.
Okay, first thing was to let you know with the new legislation that took effect this year, where we have to file the TID reports electronically, that's already been done, but then the Joint Review Board needs to meet in order to go over the reports for the TIF. We had signed the contracts with Ellers in order to have them be able to put more information together for the meeting with the financial forecasts and some of the other things on the TIDs. That will be coming up, but we do have the information out to them for that. Second thing is that the annual requirement for full disclosure on the bonds that we have for the village and the utility. That's a December reporting, and we gather information for that also to get to Ellers so that they can do the reporting on the national scale, and that's already been done. And there were questions on the building report last time, on the June report. We had shown a duplex building permit for this year, and people were questioning about the duplex permit from last year. The way the report had been set up and reported over the last 10 or more years was that we did it on up through the end of June, showing for the end of June for each year across the board. And that building permit came in after June last year. So what we've done is to change the format of the report, so all of the preceding years show the complete year's numbers, and it's only the current year that'll show up through the month that's being reported. So just to let you know that that one wasn't missing, it just simply happened after June.
Director of Public Works.
Just a couple. The Memorial Square, we had a bad water main break a couple years ago right by that alley, and it sunk all the curbing and that sidewalk and all that. And I'm gonna be getting that fixed. I've been waiting a month and a half to get a contractor to even show up. Everybody's so busy. So our first step is to get, again, the sidewalk and the curb and gutter repaired going down the alleyway. Then we're gonna pour a sidewalk going down behind that wall, back behind Carl's building, what's that called again? Whatever.
Studio Lounge.
Studio Lounge. And then this fall, when we're paving the other projects, I'm gonna get them to come in and pave that alley down to the bottom. The water fountain is in the process of being installed. The electrical's done. The sprinkler system for the flowers and trees are just about done. I'm still waiting on Midcon to finish the capstones for the back wall. So sometime in the next 30 days, it should really pop, especially at night. This water fountain's gonna be color controlled. You can change colors depending on, like St. Patrick's Day, we can have green water, stuff like that.
What about the little library? When is
The
it?
little library's up.
Oh, it is?
Sorry, I just seen that today. I'm probably gonna have enough money to pour the round circle that I wanna put the artwork on in the center of the concrete. So I'm probably gonna come back in a month or so and see if we can find a way to finish concreting that in. It's not that important right now. I'm trying to get all these accessories done up there, but I don't wanna leave that set the rest of the year if possible. If we can find money somewhere. Let's give me a dirty look.
Now, I have to agree with her, she wasn't even looking at you. You threw her under the bus.
We've worked together a long time. But yeah, it's coming together. Unfortunately, it looks like we haven't done much there lately, but we're waiting on contractors. Municipalities don't pay as good as private. There's a lot of work going on out there, and the economy bounced back, and the contractors would rather do other projects than municipal projects, so it's getting there.
It's looking nice.
What was the other thing I had?
Water tower?
Yeah. The water tower, we contracted out maintenance, and we got a last minute notice. I called, left a message with Jack. They showed up this week to do the cleaning of the interior of the water tower. So that's all clean now. We have the tower full, but we're still running the well on hand, meaning we have to pressurize the system still until we get two safe back keys. Can we turn the wells off or run them back in normal operation? Right now, we have to wait 2 more, actually through the weekend before the tower will be fully functional. It's there for an emergency, but right now it's being overflowed a little bit. Plus we're wasting water out in the, pumping to waste out in the industrial park, so. I think come Monday, Jack, everything will be back online. In 2019, we're gonna have to take it down for a longer extended period. We're gonna have to repaint the interior of the tower, which is something we do about every 10 years, so it's time. So, that's all I have.
Well, police department isn't here, so library director.
First of all, our summer library program is going very well so far. You guys might have already seen these, but I'll pass them around just in case. These are the brochures that we distributed to the schools at the start of summer and that we have available at the library, with all of our program information, special events, information about the summer reading program. As of mid-July, we had 728 registrants for the summer reading program. Patrons can and do register for that program all the way up until the end of summer in mid-August. So we've got a little time yet. Our number for 2016 was 783. So to be so close to last year's number with a month left of the program is pretty exciting. If you've been in the library lately, you probably noticed that it's covered with the evidence of the summer reading program. We designed our reading logs this year to resemble Legos because our theme is Build a Better World, and they're in different colors based on how far the patrons are through the program. So there are Legos all over the library, which is a lot of fun. The program has included several major programs and performances, and we have a few more coming up. We had Bubble Wonders here in June that attracted 108 attendance, and we're expecting at least that many, if not more, for a magician that we're having here next Thursday. We also have kept some regular programs going from our spring session and started some new ones, and those have all seen increases in participation over the summer too. We're looking forward to a couple more special programs in the next few weeks, and we'll spend the last few weeks of August looking back on the program and evaluating what to return to in 2018 and what to work on. The next thing is the evaluation of the strategic plan. Some of you will remember that we put in place a strategic plan for the library back in February. It was just a one-year short-term plan. Mainly, the goal of the plan was to evaluate where we are and what we can accomplish in a short period of time, and thereby determine what we can accomplish long-term. So it's a lengthy report that I've included in your packet here. You're welcome to read it on your own time. But just to summarize it briefly, we're doing very well in pursuing our goals with collection development. We don't have quite the collection development budget that we would like to see for what we want to accomplish, but we found ways to do creative purchasing for acquisitions and to shift money back and forth within the collection development budget to keep us on track. We're doing extremely well with our programming goals. We have a lot of major programs that are doing as well as expected, if not better. Almost all of our library assistants lead at least one regular program, some lead 2 or 3, which is very cool because everybody gets to use their personal talents and passions to provide these programs to patrons, and we're reaching a variety of patrons' interests that way. Something we'd like to work on in that area is further developing our marketing strategy and being more aggressive about our program marketing. We're hoping to start doing that in fall with a more regular email newsletter and better connections with the schools. The brochures that you're holding were distributed to most of the classes at the local schools. They did not go out to the high school, which may be why our children's programs are doing better than our teen programs, as an example. So we're trying to figure out creative ways to reach a broader demographic. In 2018, I'd like to divert some of our programming budget into a dedicated marketing budget to help with this. We have a program in mind through a library software provider that would help us manage programs and registration better, which would be very exciting. The other piece of our strategic plan is local history. We've been doing very well using our collection development budget to expand and diversify our local history collection. Something we're still working on is we have a goal to organize, digitize, catalog, and better preserve the local history documents that the library has possession of. About half of those documents are in circulation now, and we have more that we'd like to add to the collection. So at this point, we're working on first organizing those documents better, and then we're looking into outsourcing the project for digitizing and cataloging those documents to preserve them and give public better access to them. That project would likely be done through a grant. So that's kind of where we are at this point. We're going to be trying some new things and looking back at it again in October for a 9-month evaluation, and hopefully drafting a long-term strategic plan to begin late next winter. In relation to talking about where we stand with the strategic plan, we have been tracking our library usage statistics over the past few months, and we have those statistics from 2016 as well. So I thought it would be interesting and useful to put together some information comparing where we are this year compared to where we were last year. So in your packets attached to that strategic plan evaluation, you'll find some graphics illustrating that. What we're seeing is a huge increase in the number of visitors who walk through the library doors. We're seeing an increase in the amount of circulation, which is related to how many people are walking through the doors. And we're also seeing an increase of programming with the exception of May. May is the time of the year when we don't do a lot of our regular programs, but we do a lot of coordinating with the schools to advertise summer programming. So this year we had Hortonville elementary school classes visit the library to see the library and to hear about upcoming programs for summer. Last year we had librarians actually going out to several of the local schools and visiting them, which we're thinking about doing again next year. This fall we will be at the Hortonville Area School District Open House and Child Development Days to push our fall programming. So that's pretty exciting. The main thing that, looking at these statistics and analyzing them, I'm seeing is compared to last year, this year we have more staff than we used to. The staff that we have are on for more hours. We have the equivalent of more than one full-time person compared to this time last year. And the staff that we have their pet projects of programs, so all of our programs are led by people who are passionate about those programs and knowledgeable about them. So to me, continuing to foster that and support those staff is what's going to help us to maintain this growth and continue to grow in the future. Further related to budget, at this time of the year, we just have preliminary information about library budgeting. The first thing you should be aware of is OwlsNet, the consortium that the library is a part of. Last year began to reformulate the way it structures fees that the library pays in. That fee structure had not been looked at for in excess of 10 years and was not really structured based on how the libraries use OWL's services. So what they wanted to do is put together a committee of OWL's directors, including Carolyn, who used to be the director here. She was on that committee, to put together a new structure for what OWL's fees for the services they provide us should really look like. And what we're seeing based on that is because Hortonville uses more of OWL's fees than we used to, or OWL's services than we used to, which include technology and IT support, printing, marketing support. Our fees are going to go up. OWL's recognizes that this is going to be a tricky process, which is why they've decided to phase in the new fee structure over the course of 5 years. So for 2018, we will see a small increase in what we owe OwlsNet for system fees, and it will continue to increase over the next few years. Eventually, what we're looking at is a difference of roughly $1,800 compared to what we pay in now. Things to consider with this are there are ways that we can invest more in staff to use less of OWL's services. For instance, if we had staff doing more cataloging, we would not have to pay as much into OWL's for cataloging. So it depends on how we want to look at that there may be options for adjusting those numbers by doing more things in-house down the road.
Is the $1,800 the total over the 5 years or?
Total over the 5 years. So it's going to be a very gradual thing. It's just something to be aware of. And finally, OWL's recently submitted our request to Outagamie County for the county appropriation of our 2018 budget. This is not our actual county budget for next year, it's just what we're requesting. We're pretty optimistic that this is what we will be seeing, but it's not set in stone. If this is what we end up receiving from Outagamie County, it will be an increase to our budget of $4,301 in 2018. And that's all I have.
Attorney?
That's just an update on the Schilling property. We did not get a response from J.P. Morgan Chase, the bank that took the foreclosure judgment on our request for raising the barn. I still don't want to take action at the board level. Yeah, I think they have to proceed with the sheriff's sale at some point, so I'm looking into that at this point, and I'll report back. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Presentation of accounts and other claims against the village.
The voucher list consists of deposit of payroll deductions, a loan payment, and vouchers number 23679 through 23758 in the amount of $52,600.59. One direct deposit payroll in the amount of $31,041.64. And water and sewer utility vouchers number 10117 through 10125 in the amount of $9,302.38.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Communications and miscellaneous business. Blackwater Lake District News. And you missed the last two, I'll take that one back. The last two meetings, we have not had a quorum, so there's nothing coming out of those. Weed harvesting is going slow because of problems we've had with the machinery. And the DASH program, which is a diver-assisted suction harvesting, will be beginning in about a week or so. I got notice today of approval of the permit, and they have to give 1 week notice before they come out here, and I haven't contacted Dash LLC to see when they'd be coming.
So it's a private contractor?
Yes.
What do they do, actually?
A diver goes down, pulls the weed out, and shoves it into a vacuum hose. So the weeds will be coming out by the roots. They are allowed to take the Eurasian milfoil and the curly leaf pondweed, which are two invasive plants that we have out there.
And then goes up to the compost site and gets mixed in with our regular compost.
So how much of the lake do they do?
What we contracted for this year was 2 acres, 2 times. This will be the first time. They will probably be coming back again later, depending on how the weeds go, and we're contracted for it, but if everything dies off, there's nothing to harvest, we may not do it, but we will be looking at it. When they come in, I will be discussing with them further when they would be coming back for the other 2 acres.
So what's the depth of that lake, maximum depth of the channel?
The maximum depth I have found on my depth finder was 10 foot, which is just off the island. The main channel down there is anywhere from 6 to 8.
And they can actually see? There's enough visibility down there?
They claim yes.
Wow.
Well, I haven't done it this year, but in the past when I did CT dish readings out there, you could see to a depth of 6 foot.
Really? Okay.
At least on most days. If it was shortly after rain, you may not be able to see that far.
No, that's pretty much.
Pretty much all of 2017 then.
And the annual meeting will be the last Monday in August, which I believe is the 28th.
I was just curious in case I'm looking for a second job, because I live right there. Smart, yeah.
Downtown zoning task force, you have more?
No, just what I mentioned before, that the public informational meeting was last night, so really their work is done.
And comments and suggestions, I don't see any citizens present, so the next thing I do is adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.